Well, at this very moment tonight, people are coming together at Harding High in St. Paul to remember 15-year-old Devin Scott, who was stabbed and killed last Friday morning at that high school. Shortly before the vigil began, St. Paul Public Schools announced that the St. Paul Police are going to add 2 police officers at Harding and 4 other officers at high schools in that district. It's an effort to address security concerns that have been raised over the last several days from students, staff, and some parents. But here's the thing. While the spotlight is on St. Paul right now, Kent is here to talk about how students across our state have been raising similar concerns about feeling safe or not so safe in our schools. Kent?
Yeah, that's right, Jana. And this information comes from the Minnesota Student Survey, which just came out in December. Now, at the time that it came out, most of the headlines focused rightly on very concerning increases in the number of students who are reporting struggles with mental health, anxiety, and even attempting suicide since before the pandemic. But experts say some very basic questions about feeling safe reveal another troubling trend that's been growing for the past 6 years.
Every 3 years for the last 30 years, the Minnesota Student Survey has asked how safe students feel at home, in my neighborhood, traveling to and from school, and at school.
Physical safety and having your basic needs met is the bottom, and you cannot achieve higher levels of human functioning if those basic needs aren't met.
Which is why Sherilyn Helgerts with the Minnesota Department of Health says it's such a big deal to see a 5% drop in the number of Minnesota 8th graders reporting feeling safe at school since 2016. And she says the same decline holds true across all grades, despite all other safety questions staying relatively flat.
It gives you, a clue, like where to go to look. So this is the best data that we have, for the best information that we have about what's going on in the internal life of all these kids across this entire state.
But simply getting that data has grown more difficult recently. A record low 70% of school districts participated in the 2022 survey. One of those that did not take part, St. Paul Public Schools.
How much does a school district of that size in our metro area, and really frankly is at the center of this right now, not participating in the latest survey, just make it more difficult to understand what's going on?
Oh, it's huge, Kent. I mean, we were so heartbroken when we learned that St. Paul school districts wouldn't be participating. They just couldn't make it work. And I know that they value the survey because they have participated in the past, but every now and then it's one of these big school districts just can't do it in that particular year. And there's a cost to that. We can't until the next administration, which is in 2025, measure something that's important to this district and is important to the people that care about these students, to get a grip on where they're at and where they're headed.
Though it's too late for the survey, in the wake of the recent violence in St. Paul, she says it's critical for the adults to remember that it's never too late to listen.
Talk to the kids, work it out with them, and so that any solution is a reflection of what they want and what would help them to feel safe.
Now, to drive home that last point, Sherilyn pointed to one more aspect of the most recent survey. In just the last 3 years, fewer students in all age groups reported feeling like their parents and other adults in their community cared about them very much. As a parent of a St. Paul student herself, she says that is something she and all adults need to consider. Jana.
That's all just so heartbreaking, but all of it matters in this conversation. When we have violence, it doesn't just happen out of nowhere. We need to start listening to our kids, it sounds like.
That's exactly what she's saying.
All right. Thanks so much, Kent. We appreciate it.